Good morning again. Before Sergio brings the word, the sermon, we just wanted to share a little update of these 9 years that we've spent in Mozambique. It's quite hard to put 9 years into a couple of minutes, but we're going to try and do that for you. If you could put on the slide with the women, where we got to after Chloe's bit, please. So 9 years ago, it was May, the end of May, middle of May, 9 years ago. We didn't really know what we were coming to, what we were to expect, what we were going to do. It was the first time that Sergio and I had been to Africa. And so it was a very new experience for us. And we missed a flight on our way there. So we got there at night time to a power cut. So it was a good introduction to how life was going to be for us. We had many a power cut, didn't we? Sometimes they let us know, sometimes they didn't. But either way, if you could go into the few more slides, please. There's a slide with that's the one. Yes, thank you. So the first couple of years were a bit more difficult, unsure of where we fitted in, the work that we were doing, how things were going to be. But after a couple of years, traveling, visiting different churches, we became members of this church, the Igreja Batista do Aeroporto, the airport church, because it was near to the airport. And this is a photo of me with the women from church on Mozambican Women's Day. That happens in April. In Mozambique, the men get 1 day a week, which is their day. The women get 1 day in the year. So the women make the most of it because they get the 1 day. And this material is called capelana. So one of the women will go and choose one of these materials, a pattern that we're going to use, and then they'll make clothes out of it. There's always a big discussion after who liked the pattern, who didn't like the pattern, but there it goes. But it's a great day for us to celebrate together, to have Bible study, to sing, and to eat some food. In Mozambique, community is very important, and for the Christians, the church is their main social time, social event, and so it's really important that we spend that time together. In the church, I would help with Bible studies and just be a part of this group, encouraging, going on visits to their homes. The women in Mozambique live very difficult lives. They're quite oppressed. Maybe the man they're with has another wife. And here, if someone had another wife, you'd probably say goodbye and go and live somewhere else, but they don't have that. They rely on the man to provide for them. So it's very different, but it was great for us to grow in that church. Thank you. And the next one. From the beginning, the idea was that I would help to write a safeguarding policy. And now if you go to Mozambique and talk about safeguarding, they have no idea what you're talking about when we talk about child protection. And it was a way for me to teach them about other practices and things that perhaps we shouldn't do, like hitting children and locking them in cupboards. And talking to them about abuse. What is abuse? There's the Mozambican coordinator for the Pepes, which are preschools run by churches. He once said to me he felt that all the children in Mozambique were abused in some way, whether that was emotionally, physically, sexually. A lot of that would go on. So it was a great opportunity to open their eyes to see, well, this is not right, even though it happens, it's wrong. And to think about other ways of how we can protect the children in our care. As well as with the Pepes, the preschools, I also had the opportunity to, through the support of BMS and churches like you, to become a play therapist. I enjoyed the prevention work, but I also wanted to help those children that were struggling and going through difficult times. And so I was able to do play therapy with a number of different children. I could spend all morning here talking about that, but I don't have all morning. But it was a great opportunity to really, I see the Bible verse where it says, Jesus came to give life in all its fullness. And children and people that have been through so many things in their life already, since they were young, it's very difficult to understand what is this life of fullness? Who is this God, my Father, who I can trust when my own father abandoned me? It's very difficult. So giving them a space for them to recognize the value and the love that others have for them and the value that they have as a child was really amazing to see. It also gave me an opportunity, as you can see the photo here, to be part of the Jacaranda Communities of Hope program. which was a program started by an American child psychologist to bring hope to different communities. It's where we teach adults about trauma, about what trauma is, its effects, and we teach them about storytelling, about emotional regulation, those big emotions. When children have them, what can they do to be safe and to express those emotions in a healthy way? And also what we call healing play, which is like play therapy, a simplified version of play therapy. And so there'd be 2 weeks. The first week they'd have that training, and the second week we'd invite children to come, and we'd call it Healing Play Camp, where they'd use what they learnt to bring healing. It was amazing to see the relationships they built with those children. And also even one teacher did it, and at the end she realized why she shouldn't hit children, and that was a teacher. And so these simple principles and things we were teaching to them, it was amazing that they could then go back and use those in their communities, in their churches, and in their families. So we did 2 of those programs this year. The other thing that play therapy allowed me to, or God gave me, directed my path, was to start an introduction to trauma course, where adults would come. It'd be an 8-week course. They'd come once a week, and they would learn also about trauma and its effects. It was more of a small group. Every week we'd do a therapeutic activity. And I realized when I started doing it, how much trauma these adults had been through, and that it's important they learn about how to help others and help children, but they also needed a way to process their own trauma that they'd been through. So it was amazing to see the journey that they came through from the beginning to the end. And I could share testimonies about that. But if you can see on the picture on the right, that lady, she's called Teresa. She's 21. She did the course with me a couple of years ago. And even though I'm here today, she is leading one of the groups. It's carrying on. It hasn't stopped. It's not up to me. It's God doing this work. And so she is leading a small group in her church, as well as another lady who is leading also in her church. This other lady is also, I trained her to be a play therapist. So she is also doing play therapy in a school where I was helping. And she was someone that I went through a journey with her because she disclosed that she had been abused as a child. And I was able to work with her to help her in her healing. And to see all that the Holy Spirit did in her and God is doing in her is amazing. I could talk about say a lot more, but it's great to know that the work that God started is continuing in Mozambique, even though I have come back. So in a nutshell, that's some of what I've been doing. But maybe after church, if anyone would like to talk a bit more about it, that'd be great. But I give thanks to God for you. Supporting BMS to enable us to do this work that we have been doing. Now I'll let Sergio continue.